Today, we're going to talk about a major stock market red flag, and we see the fear and greed index almost back into neutral territory, sitting at 57. Then we can also see they were slashing the amount of jobs expected in Friday's jobs numbers down to 110,000. And with the futures markets in turmoil after the bell, will the market continue to crash lower for tomorrow? Keep in mind, today after the bell, we have a lot of earnings coming out. We have Microsoft, Meta, Coinbase, and Robinhood, just to name a few. Now, we look at how the indices fared across the board. The Dow was down 91 points. NASDAQ was down 104 points. S&P 500 down 19 and a quarter points. Russell 2000 being down 0.23. Now, we look at advancing issues versus declining. We had 56.4% of issues declining on the day. Then we look at sectors across the board. Communication services leading the way. However, the laggard today was technology. Now today, we saw SMCI crashing lower by as much as 32%. However, were you warned in advance? And right here, Hindenburg Research issued a warning months ago talking about financials for SMCI. Then today, what do we see? Super micro troubles build as auditor resigns, sending stocks tumbling 30%. And what it basically goes on to say is, their accounting firm decided to resign. Now, that is not a good sign, all right? When I started trading, one of the things I learned was if you hear anything about accounting irregularities, run as fast as you can. Everybody was cheering SMCI back when it was rocketing up. And keep in mind, it was well over 1,000 before it had the stock split here just a little bit back. And then we look at NVIDIA today. NVIDIA starting to come down a little bit, and we have a little bit of a hammer candle. And for all intents and purposes, we basically have an upper level consolidation up and around this area. We look at Tesla today, actually was down a little bit, down $1.97. And the bears are pleading, please let me out of this trade. And let's not forget, all right, today we do have earnings after the bell. So let's go take a look at, has Microsoft already reported earnings? And if so, how is the stock trading after hours? Initially, Microsoft spikes lower, only to go back up. Right now, it's trading up roughly $4.81. Well, who else had earnings today after the bell? The next big one out there was Meta. Now, if we come over and look at a chart of Meta real quick, what do we see? Meta dipping lower, still down $7.77 at this moment. Will we see Meta starting to rally back as well? And we look out here on the daily chart, notice we were right near all-time highs. However, could this be a triple top? Top number one, top number two, top number three, and then down we go. We also had Coinbase announcing earnings after the bell, and we can see right now Coinbase is substantially lower than where it was, down 4.68%. We also come over and take a look at Robinhood. Robinhood after the bell also has earnings. Let's take a look at Robinhood stock. Robinhood stock drops after earnings come out, down 8.37%. And think about this. We're seeing a lot of stocks after earnings. Like yesterday, we saw AMD come crashing lower and was actually down over 10% today. Now, to me, this does not sound like a soft landing. This does not sound like Jay Powell is going to orchestrate this soft landing that he sold all of us to believe. Now, when we look at the fear and greed index, keep in mind, we keep pushing closer and closer back over into neutral territory. We got to ask yourself, is it the earnings that's going to push the market lower, or is it the economic data that we have coming out for the remainder of the week? Keep in mind, today we had the ADP numbers come out, and they came out 233,000 versus a forecast of 110. However, when we look right here, we can see that essentially October jobs forecast shaved to 110,000 after Boeing strike and hurricane. So again, they're already trying to feed us a bunch of nonsense, and they're using this as an excuse of why the jobs numbers on Friday are not going to be as good as they once said. We look at Friday, what are the jobs numbers that they're actually projecting? Non-farm employment change, they're forecasted only 108,000, previously 254. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that certainly looks like it shows the economy is starting to slow, and we've noticed that for quite some time. Look at the volatility index today, all right? The VIX closing near the session highs. We are in the 20s. We're not in the teens. We're not in the single digits. We are in the 20s. If we get into the mid 20s, watch out. It's going to get extremely ugly in the stock market from that point on. We come over, we take a look at the dollar index. What do we got going with the dollar index today? Dollar index basically still stuck in this upper level consolidation that we've had over the past, few days or so. And we look at gold today. Gold was able to make another new all-time high. Gold trading right now at 2796.8, just a rocket ship on the way up, smashing the latest ABC projection on the way up. Now, something else that we want to keep an eye on is going to be the yields. All right. Notice the 10-year yields continue to rise, and this is the area where Jay Powell last cut interest rates and the yields continue to march up higher. Now, I want to remind you guys, Apex having a massive 80% sale off all their valuation accounts, passing as little as 1 day, and only $85 activation fee across all account sizes. Now, if you're a trader that likes to trade the 150, 250, and 300K accounts, good news for you. After using promo code Mike, the accounts will only cost you $50. If you'd like to take advantage of this offer, use the link in the description box down below. Use promo code Mike at checkout. Now, with only 7 days left until the FOMC meeting, keep in mind the market is still pricing in only a 25 basis point rate cut. So again, why are yields going up? All right. Why is gold rallying up? It's because of uncertainty in the market. Keep in mind, next week we have the presidential election, which is going to pour more fuel on the fire. And we're going to see, does the market react positively or does it come crashing lower? We come over and we look at crude oil. Crude oil today having a bullish day, coming right up in here towards gap resistance. We'll see if we can come all the way up here, filling the gap at 71.84. Now, when we look at some of the indices out there today, the Dow was strong a majority of the day, gave it up towards the afternoon. But notice we are still within Friday's down candle. The last 3 days have been contained within that down candle. MACD indicator on the daily chart is still showing signs of weakness. We have a bearish cross of the two lines. As we come over and look at the 1 hour chart, notice as we're coming back down towards the lows, this could set a case where we actually end up with some type of MACD divergence play. Then on the 30-minute chart, you can see we're basically trying to work ourselves all the way back down, potentially filling the gap down here about 421.13. Now we come over and we look at small caps. Small caps today was rocketing early on, only to come back and give it up. And look what we get, a nice bearish shooting star type of candle. MACD indicator kind of flatline, but we're really having a hard time pushing away from this high volume area over here on the composite profile. When we dive down, we look at the 1 hour chart, not a lot to see there. MACD indicator just trying to cross over, but notice, all right, big strong push up this morning, only to fade all the way back. And as we look out here on the 30-minute chart, notice, all right, we still have this gap all the way down here at about 218.96. If we continue to see weakness in the market tomorrow, that is going to be a logical target that we should focus on moving forward. Now, jumping over and looking at the NASDAQ, we're still stuck within this consolidation level. We tried to breach above it yesterday, and even today, boom, smacked right back into it. And notice, we're trading where this high volume is. Now, if we can crack below it, then I would see the Qs coming down towards about 488.77. We dive down, we look at the 1 hour chart. We do have a bearish cross of the MACD lines. And notice we still have two gaps that need to come back and get filled. First one being down here in the ballpark of 492.35. The second gap would be about 488.28. And we'll see, do we make it down there or not? And again, we want to take it 1 day at a time. And tomorrow morning's live stream, when we do the market analysis, I want to see, which way are we breaking? I'm going to classify today's volume profile as a D as in dog. It's kind of ugly, but it's contained within the prior day. And we also have an inside day, which leads to we're likely going to get a breakout or breakdown from this pattern. Now, keep in mind, the first way we break quite often ends up being nothing more than a trap. So if tomorrow we're breaking below the low of today, then we're going to expect that to be a trap and look to trade the market back up higher. Keep in mind, they're going to try to keep the markets up going into elections to the best of their abilities. We come over and we look at the futures markets real quick. Notice we're able to completely give it back. Now, we do have an ABC pattern that could still be in play at 21.65. But if we break below the swing point of 20,434, then that's going to negate that ABC pattern. Now, if we can start going back up, we do have that untested point of control up here of 20,893. But when we dive down, we start looking at the daily profiles. Notice, all right, last night we peaked out and then we just kind of meandered down throughout the day. And we were talking about this minus development area. If you guys were on the live stream today, then I said, if we come back down here a third time, watch for it to break, possibly coming down to where? S1 and even the untested point of control. Well, what do we do? Right after the bell, bing, we went ahead and hit both of those levels. Now, to make sure you don't miss the next time I go live, make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell notifications turned on for all. Now, when we look at the volume profile levels real quick, let's go ahead and remove all the minus development areas. Notice we are closing below value area low, which really comes in at a price point of 20,568.00. The point of control is going to be way up here at 20,651.25. Value area high will be 20,687.75. So by default tonight, I am going to be looking to target value area low. Why? When we close outside of value, it's highly probable, but within the next 1 to 2 trading sessions, we come back and we test that price point. So we'll see, do we come up and can we accept price above it? Or do we simply reject and start working our way back down? Keep in mind, today's point of control will be an untested point of control at the open. Now, when we look at the SPY, we've had this upper level consolidation, MACD indicator trying to roll over here just a bit. And notice if we get into this minus development area within the profile, watch out, we could easily go to this next high volume area at about 570.89. When we dive down, we really start looking at, let's say, the 30-minute chart. Notice the last 1, 2, 3, 4 volume profiles have basically been overlapping in terms of the value area. So basically, what is this signifying? We have been in nothing more than a sideways market consolidation, and this is cause being built. Is it cause to go higher or is it cause to go lower? You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. With today's profile, we did go higher than yesterday's high. So unlike the NASDAQ, we do not have an inside day. So tomorrow it's going to be critical. Do we get below the low of today and then maybe reject and start coming back up? If so, I'm going to want to try to target some of these minus development areas within the profile. But again, we got to take it one day at a time. I want to see how the overnight session trades throughout tonight. Then as we come over and we take a look at the 4-hour chart for the S&P futures, notice what we've done now, right? We're coming back trying to attack this low, and we've already been above last week's value area high. And once we came back below it from a weekly standpoint or a longer term perspective, then I'm looking to favor sell side trades until we get below 58.33 and 0.75. And then if we come back above it, then I'd switch to being bullish, or if we can get back above value area high. Now, when we come over and we look at the daily profiles real quick, notice, all right, we did have some back and forth in the market today, and this was a pretty good move right off of the lows. Big rocket ship on the way up, only to fail at a prior swing point area. Now, as I'm looking at this, notice we are also closing where? Well below value area low, which comes in at 59.60.00. We got the point of control way up here at 58.78.50. Value area high, 58.85.00. Now, let's say you want to play the rotation on the way up. Well, one, we need to get above value area low. And if we do, I actually would want to target this minus development area right up in here. I'm going to go ahead and draw that out something like this. And that's going to be somewhere in the ballpark of 58.67 to about 58.68. All right, that would be one target location. Instead of trying to target the point of control, since it's so much closer towards value area high than it is towards value area low. Tonight during the live stream, I'll be looking to target value area low. And we'll see, do we hit that level tonight, tomorrow, or the following day as the rules suggest? Now, keep in mind, that does not happen 100% of the time. Neither does anything else in trading. Now, if you guys would like to learn about my funded futures approach to direct funding, watch this video right here.